This time last week, the first round of the draft had come and gone. So we're not quite a week removed from the entire draft, but we're getting close. And the dust is continuing to settle. And when you look back at New Orleans, I mean, a lot of the conversation this week has been spent on Tyler Shuck, as it should be, and Kelvin Banks. All of that makes sense. Offensive line was a huge need. You knew you needed quarterback as well. The Shuck pick was pretty polarizing in a sense as well, because, man, could you have gotten him later in the draft? All those reasons, we don't need to rehash those. They've been talked about plenty throughout this week as the dust has been settling. But if you remember our months-long conversations about what New Orleans needed to accomplish in this draft, remember what everybody said? They have so many needs, you can't really go wrong. Make your pick. You need it. Well, it's very true. And New Orleans had 9 selections. And I certainly didn't think they were going to make all 9 picks because they never use all of their picks. They never make all their picks in the draft. You most likely didn't think they were going to use all 9 picks because they never make all their picks in the draft. Well, they did. And it's a good thing they did because, again, our conversations. You have so many needs. Take a pick. Make your pick. Can't go wrong. For the large majority, the Saints filled all their needs. You got Kelvin Banks. All right, offensive tackle. Quarterback depth. Tyler Shuck. Love it. Devin Neal late, which everyone loves as a value pick. Running back. Awesome. Vernon Broughton. Defensive tackle. Great. You even signed an edge, undrafted free agent in Shaheed Davis out of Wake Forest, who looks like he has a great shot to make this team. Cornerback. Quincy Riley. Perfect. Safety. That was I'm blanking on his name. From Virginia. Sanker. Jonas Sanker. Go down the list. They hit them all. The one they didn't hit, well, that was wide receiver. And it's the one that they still need. And specifically a possession receiver. And what's so interesting with the Saints at wide receiver right now is even knowing like that's what they need, they just haven't gone and got it. And look, Mickey Loomis said post-draft, that's the spot. It's the one spot they would have liked to have been able to get somebody. And there were a couple spots in the draft they thought they would, but the guy they wanted was taking a couple picks ahead of them. And they didn't like him enough to want to trade up, and or they couldn't find a partner to trade up to make it done, get it done. Okay. But even in the undrafted free agent pool, the Saints signed 2 receivers. And I'll ask you another question. When talking about the Saints, when talking about possession receiver, what's the one thing everyone throws out? The size. That's what you need. Right? Man, Chris Olave, Rashid, Shaheed, you love it. Well, they're both right around 6 foot. Same deal with Brandon Cooks, who you brought in. Okay, well, undrafted free agents. Did you go get some size? You brought in 2 wide receivers? No, you didn't. Chris Tyrese, 5'11". Moochie Dixon is 6 foot tall. Both under 200 pounds. They're made in the same mold as Olave, Shaheed, Cooks, all the guys that you have. Even Mason Tipton from a year ago. They have to go out and get size. They have to go out and get a possession receiver. And you know some of the names that we're going to go through here, especially the first 2 we're going to talk about. But there's some others to keep an eye on as well. Now, the Saints have $27 million in cap space right now to use. I want to preface this next part of the conversation by saying this. I don't care how much money the Saints have in cap space. I don't think they're going to be very good next year. You're probably in the same boat. You probably don't think the Saints are going to be very good next year. But the New Orleans Saints are going to go try to win now. They're going to sign veterans, and they're going to do their best. And in reality, it probably won't work out or amount to much. But since that's what they're going to do, and they're going to try to create the best version of this team, how do they do that, and what receiver can help them? First on that list is going to be Keenan Allen. That's the name you've probably heard most, and you should. Keenan Allen's a veteran in this league. He's been awesome, 6-time Pro Bowler, all of those things that you kind of know. He's got experience in Kellen Moore's offense, 1 season in 2023 with the Chargers, and boy, did he shine that year. 108 receptions, which is the most in his career. 1,243 yards, which is the second most yardage in his career, 7 touchdowns, second most touchdowns in his career. He was awesome in Kellen Moore's offense. Now, they needed him a little more because there were some injuries in the Chargers receiving core, but he shined. You look a year ago, he played in 15 games, but it was some low marks in his career in Chicago. Put him back in Kellen Moore's offense, that could look good. Like, that could work. But by his own admission, Keenan Allen, after the 2024 season he just spent in Chicago, said on record about his future, Los Angeles. He'd like to get back to Los Angeles, whether the Rams or the Chargers. Yes, he'd stay in Chicago, but the caveat there is he moved out there alone. He kept his family in Southern California, which is why he would like to get back there. Things can change. Maybe the Chargers, the Rams don't have a spot for him. He wants to play another year, and New Orleans comes with a really good offer and reunites him with Kellen Moore. That could work. What if it's not Keenan Allen? Because, again, that's the name you've heard most. What if it's not him? Who else? Amari Cooper would be next in line. And, again, it makes a lot of sense. Amari Cooper, high draft pick when he came out of Alabama, spent 3 years in Kellen Moore's offense in Dallas and had great success. In 2020, most receptions in his career, 130. 2 1,100-yard seasons, 1 Pro Bowl. All of that under Kellen Moore. The issue with Amari Cooper is in the last 2 years combined, he's played in 14 games. The durability might not be there. And if you're the Saints and you're adding somebody, you better add somebody durable because of the struggles you've had in the training room the last 2 seasons. None bigger, none worse than a season ago, but the last 2 years. So you better bring in somebody durable. And if it's not either of those two, I'll throw out a couple more names for you. One of them's DJ Chark. And hear me out. I understand the production from DJ Chark hasn't been great really over the course of his entire 7-year career in the NFL. He had the 1 Pro Bowl year in Jacksonville where he went over 1,000 yards, and he was awesome, and it looked like, man, they got such a steal. There's been some injuries involved as well. I mean, well, he didn't make his debut a season ago for the Chargers until week 10. And even then, he only played in 7 games. And even with that, he only had 10 targets on the year. But Chark's the youngest of these guys, but he's still towards the back end of his career. He'll be 29, at some point during this season in 2025. But it would also just fit kind of what the Saints have been doing lately. And that's bringing back guys with Louisiana ties or having played for LSU later in their career. Tyrann Mathieu, hell, Devon Godchaux, Jarvis Landry, Will Clapp, even Justin Reed, Louisiana guy, didn't play for LSU, but Louisiana guy. That is a route they have gone. Chark's definitely got the size, 6'3", 200 pounds. And albeit 1 year, he's proven that he can do well in the NFL. And the key thing with that is you're not asking him to go out there and be a 1,000-yard receiver. You're asking him to win some one-on-ones for you. And given the ties to the state and them leaning into that a little bit more, I think that would absolutely be an option. You can get him cheap. Made $3 million a year ago. But with your cap space, would you want to spend a little bit more? The other one I would throw out would be Nelson Agholor. But again, he fits more into the mold of a Chris Olave, a Rashid Shaheed. That's kind of why I saved him for last. Because for me, that's not really what you're looking for. 6 foot, 200 pounds. And what's Olave? Like 6'1", 197? Like, pretty comparable. Outside of the 1 year in Philly where he dropped everything and everybody just started a narrative that he was a bad receiver, Nelson Agholor's been pretty darn good over his decade-long career in the NFL. He's been durable. You like that? Guys played in double-digit games all 10 years. So you love to see that. But again, the production, down. You're not asking him to be, the the Nelson Agholor of 2018 that caught 97 balls. That's not what you're looking for. You just need that compliment. Because you feel good with Olave and Shaheed, given Olave's health, to lead you as a 1-2. Do I think Rashid Shaheed's actually a number 2 in the NFL? Not really. I think he's a really good number 3, great deep threat guy who can stretch the field, big play caliber receiver. That certainly has a role. But also, with Olave and Shaheed as your 1-2 last year, when you were healthy, you saw the Saints get off to a record-setting offensive start. So who's to say that can't work? But you have to go out and find the big body guy. And so far, whether they had their eyes on somebody in the draft and it just didn't work out like Mickey Loomis said, they just haven't gone after that player. And I'll point to the undrafted rookies they brought in one more time. 5'11" and 6 foot. You just keep bringing in guys that look like Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. You have to bring in a wide receiver, and they have to be that possession type guy because you have lacked that ever since the Michael Thomas saga started and ended. Once the injury bug started biting Thomas, you were never able to replace that. And now that he's out the door, haven't been able to replace it. And that's the one thing you need, regardless of who's playing quarterback. Whether it's Tyler Shuck, whether it's Spencer Rattler, whether it's Jake Haener, whether it's Derek Carr. They have to have a guy they know they can go to, put up the 50-50 ball, throw into tight coverage, that guy's going to come down with the football. And right now, they lack that. Those are 4 options. Your top 2 and a couple guys to consider. They all fit with New Orleans for different reasons. You got the cap space. You're hell-bent on proving that you can compete now. Well, let's see it. Go out, sign someone, see if you can compete now. I don't think they can. But we'll follow along as they make their latest effort here in 2025.
Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.